Go Blue, everybody. Harbaugh versus the NCAA in a cage match, plus fall camp updates, recruiting updates, Jayden Sanders, and much more, all coming up next on Michigan Wolverines Live.
You guys should check out the Michigan Wolverine Live. They're out here doing great things, doing great podcasts, great live shows. They're really just doing their thing, help them blow up.
And welcome into Michigan Wolverines Live. Today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. Hope everybody's had an awesome week. It is our 161st show. We're really getting up there now. Surpassed, I believe, the Iowa show a little bit, so we're kind of neck and neck with them. John Diadamo on Twix, and I'm going to take you through the next hour and a half or so. We are broadcasting on YouTube. We're broadcasting on Twitch. We're broadcasting on X. And we're also broadcasting via audio podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Audible, Amazon, and now Apple Podcast. Very exciting. Go ahead and send us, hit that like button. It's free. You might as well. Subscribe. We're about to tell you why in a second. And share this link out with at least one friend. If you share the link out with a friend, then guess what? We're going to double, triple, quadruple people in here. So send it to your Facebook group, send it to your Discord, send it everywhere. And finally, if you want your comment or question to the top of the queue, either be a YouTube member where we try to highlight comments, or send us a super chat, okay? And we'll make sure that your comment, your question is read as quickly as we can and acknowledge it. And with all that said, let's bring on our people that you've grown to know and love. And back this week, we got them back. Folks, we got TJ Ronin in the house, host of our call-in show, and now back Michigan Wolverines Live. How you been?
What is up, John? Yeah, I missed you guys. I wasn't here last week. Sadly, some hot topics. I wish I was able to get some points in. But, yeah, great to be back, man. Looking forward to the show.
Absolutely. Good to have you back. And, of course, we've got Ferris Khan in the house here. Smash the numbers. Ferris, go Blue.
Go Blue. Wearing the Tigers hat. I think I got the M. Is it on this side or the other side? Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
All right. Yeah. So excited for this show. I just wrote a little note there saying I eat hamburgers for breakfast. So I could be the only other person other than Jim Harbaugh that eats hamburgers for breakfast. More to come on that topic.
It was Ferris. It was not Jim Harbaugh. NCAA got the wrong.
It might have been me that went to Benny's to order.
Breaking news: Ferris. It's actually Ferris's fault.
Yeah, well, just think about it. You know, it's only $7 for a Benny's hamburger. Why would you go and get all those carbs and get the fluffy pancakes or whatever? It's going to cost you the same amount anyway. Get some protein in you. For $7, Benny's hamburger. It's barely more than McDonald's, and it's less than Five Guys. $7 for a hamburger there.
Not too sure. I thought it was gonna. I heard it was the brown jug. That was the rumor, but
well. There's the brown jug. There's a whole thing with the brown jug, and separate from that, there's Benny's. So there's two different things here going on, according to this lengthy article that soon to be book excerpt.
Yes. We will discuss it. Who is bro in the middle? That's TJ. So we'll get rid of the comments so everybody can see.
Juju knows. Juju's bullshitting. He knows.
Everybody. He's bullshitting. But
Juju's
there he
hitting
is.
Me up on social media all the time.
So we of course want to continue our path to trying to beat Ohio State in subscriber count. So we've got, as always, the Kenneth Grant total, and we do have some good news on the Kenneth Grant chase down tracker. It's now turning again the right direction thanks to you guys in the chat and everything else. So you're spreading the word, and we appreciate it. 670 until Voice of College Football Michigan channel catches third base Ryan Day over at the Ohio State channel.
Yeah, we've never lost ground. We were stagnant for about a show. but we are back in the right direction, making moves. Ryan Day, hey, we're coming. I know he hears footsteps. I'm sure he has trouble sleeping at night thinking about Michigan already. This isn't making it any easier for him. So we appreciate everyone subscribing to the channel, helping us grow, helping us climb the mountain. We will get there, and hopefully we have something for you when we do get there. I know Ferris is working on that right now.
Yes. I have. I am not. My passion is not graphic design, but I do have a friend whose passion is graphic design. So we'll see what we can do with respect to that. That temporary setback was kind of like being up 2 scores, and then maybe Ohio State gets a score, and then maybe Honda McCord completes a pass. But in the end, there's going to be an interception. Game over. Michigan wins by 6.
Hey, there we go.
Listen, I'll take Michigan wins by 1. So 6, love it. But you don't have to win. As Harbaugh likes to say, you don't have to win pretty. You just got to win.
F that. We're putting 100 on their ass, bro.
Okay, let's put 100. Okay, let's do it. Real quick, I do want to thank, we already do have a gifted membership. So we'll talk about the memberships in a bit, but Tom has just gifted a membership, which means somebody's about to get access to 30 free days of the Those Who Stay Will Be Champions. Les Austin Jr. So I believe that's actually a Michigan fan. So congrats, Les, on getting 30 free days of Those Who Stay Will Be Champions. Hit the refresh button, and you're going to get emojis. So check out some of the emojis that we've got. There's quite a few. Okay, with all that said, we also do want to let everybody know one more thing. We have a very special guest coming on to the show in a couple of weeks. TJ, we've got somebody who TJ has mentioned quite a couple of times. Trey Taylor, elite quarterback recruit in 2027, will be joining us in just 2 weeks.
Yeah, man. 2 weeks. We are getting Trey Taylor. For those who don't know, that is the #1 target for Michigan at quarterback, QB1. I am thrilled to have that interview. This is a player we've been covering for a few months now. We feel good about it, in terms of where Michigan stands in that recruitment. I'm looking forward to bringing him on the show, having you guys get familiar with him. And yeah, man, I mean, it's a big deal. This kid is a major recruit. And just as Andrew Marsh was a major recruit, this is another top of the line, one of the top quarterbacks for 2027. So great to have him. Looking forward to it.
Yes, we can't wait. And hopefully everybody saves the date, puts it in your calendar, tells your uncle, tells everybody who's a Michigan fan in your life, Trey Taylor, so we can give him a lot of support. And the Bull is bringing us into our first topic of the day. The Bull, who's one of our YouTube members, who's taken part in our member hangouts the last couple of months, and we appreciate him. It does seem like a lot of Michigan athletes are hurt in the NFL. In particular, one that we want to cover is our breaking news that JJ McCarthy, who is currently somewhere around QB3 on the Minnesota Vikings depth chart. After his 2 touchdowns, not handoffs, but passing touchdowns through the air, he did wind up getting an injured meniscus, and he's going to be out anywhere from 4 weeks to multiple months, depending on how quickly they can take care of it and all of that good stuff. Do we think there's any chance that JJ could see some playing time by like game 17 or around then?
So, I mean, it all comes down to, is it going to be a meniscus trim or is it a complete repair? They don't know yet. So like when they get into surgery, they're going to have a better idea of what they need to do. It could be anywhere from a 4-week recovery period or a 6-month recovery period. So that's where we are with it. So if it's 6 months, he could be out the year. But if it's a shorter recovery period, like I'm hoping it's a 4-week recovery. Some meniscus injuries, you really can't come back in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But the fact that they don't know yet, typically you have an idea before you go into surgery. So the fact they don't know yet is pretty interesting. We'll find out. Hopefully we can see him though, because he looked really good in that preseason game. I'm excited to see what he does in Minnesota with all those weapons. The team is like perfectly built for JJ McCarthy. It's a great opportunity. Yeah, I mean, offensive line strong. You got a great tight end who's also coming back from a knee injury. Your wide receiver options are insane. You have Aaron Jones in the backfield. I mean, your defense is solid. You have a good coach. I mean, it's really a great, and it's in a dome. It's ideal as it can possibly be for a quarterback. So, except they got to play the Detroit Lions, but it is what it is there. Except for those games, so we'll see how he does. But anyways, yeah, no, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully we get an update here not too long, and it's one on the shorter side of recovery than the longer.
Yeah, that was kind of tough news today. I think to the point of the JJ being in the right fit. I would rather personally, if I had the choice, be JJ than Drake May. Let's put it that way. It's better to be drafted number 10 and have the opportunity to throw potentially to Justin Jefferson, to have a much better team, to not have, to basically be a piece that's added to the team, not be the franchise that's, where there isn't anything around you. So it was interesting to see, it'll be interesting to see those two players kind of side by side over their careers. I hope that JJ can recover. I think one knock against him is that he does look skinny. He does look fragile, so to speak, according to some. I don't know about that. It can be a fluke. It can be whatever. So hopefully he recovers, has a great career. I don't think it's a massive setback because I don't think he would have had that much playing time to begin with.
What do you mean? Wait, you don't think JJ would have had a lot of? What do you mean, like
this
from
year?
now until
I don't think he would have been QB1. I think he would have come in and he would be gradually brought in over this, over several games, if not the entire season.
So I agree with that. I think it would be a gradual. I think that Sam Darnold would start the year, but I do think I don't have anyone who's followed Sam Darnold's career knows he has a very limited. He's really a floor type quarterback. He doesn't have much of a ceiling. So I feel like by week 4 or 5. You would have seen JJ take command of that offense. I think considering the strength or the NFC North being so deep as it is, they can't lose traction, and they are a team that is ready. I mean, they're trying to make the playoffs. They're not in rebuild mode at all. So, especially when you have Justin Jefferson, as a wide receiver. I fully expected that JJ would probably be taking the reins as QB1 by about week 5. I actually was thinking about stashing him in my fantasy team because I won't get into fantasy football, but I was building some strategies and some potentials because I like to do that. But anyway.
I wasn't thinking that way at all. I mean, I think of it in terms of JJ with Cade or something. A little bit of playing time, but Cade is still QB1.
No.
I wasn't thinking that he
let me
would
be
do
very
anything
clear.
significant this year.
It's a weak quarterback. Like you've got Sam Darnold as your starting quarterback, and the Bulls nailed it. He's like a 5-win quarterback. Okay, maybe 6, 7 at the absolute. Like, oh my God, he's killing it right now. Like Nick Foles level. All of a sudden, he turns into a superstar.
Correct.
But yeah. So I believe he may have been in the formal depth chart QB3, like at the very, very beginning. But I think he would have surpassed Nick Mullins and Sam Darnold pretty quickly. And I still think there's a shot by the end of this season. So we'll see what happens there. I do want to quickly acknowledge here because Keith just dropped a 10 spot for us. Keith Rebar, who's a member of our Connor Stallions espionage tier of membership, and he's dropping a 10 spot. And
leader of the Jack Tuttle fan club.
That's true.
Pay your respects to Keith.
Brian Ryan said a few days ago they should have won the 2023 game. Well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't.
And then
maybe Kyle McCord shouldn't have thrown to the other team.
Yeah, I mean, the 2022 game, I think he said that they were only 5 plays away. And that just reminds me, the Tigers were only 5 home runs away from winning the winning the World Series, maybe, if those home runs were at the right time, right? So
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, listen, Ryan Day is a walking excuse. We all know that, which is why they can't take ownership for their situation. So we're going to see how they do this year, because I really think, and as we know, and we've expressed on the show, they have a culture problem in Ohio State. And, it's a prime example. This is another example of what that is, a lack of self-reflection, looking in the mirror. I mean, they know they need to do better. They're obviously putting their money where their mouth is, but we'll see how they are on the field. We'll see what they can do on Saturdays, but against Michigan. But back to JJ McCarthy. I mean, he was crushing it in camp, John and Ferris. I'm sure you saw this. I mean, he was starting to crush it in camp. He was playing very well. I fully expected JJ. I mean, the way things were trending, the way he played in the preseason game, fully expecting JJ McCarthy to become QB1 sooner than later.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I mean, my point of. I mean, it's all. The question is moot now because he's injured. We don't know exactly, when he's going to come back. But I think it would have certainly not been at the beginning of the season. It would have been a little while. And to the point about they already have weapons, you don't want a young quarterback with that much pressure on him. He never played it down over age 20. He's only 21 right now. So.
Correct, but there's plenty of rookie quarterbacks who, like Caleb Williams is about to be thrown into it. And you're right with the age thing. He is a young quarterback. But plenty of rookie quarterbacks, they start the year. CJ Stroud, even though he wasn't as young as JJ, but because he has but see, you got to remember, this is key though. Minnesota is in a win now mode. They're not in rebuild mode. So if Sam Darnold's not getting the results, see, that's what I feel. I feel like Sam Darnold is not going to give them the production they're looking for or the results they're looking for in case of W's, which is why a JJ would be given the opportunity, because they're going to build for the future. Then if they lose games because Sam Darnold's not the one to get them the W's, then they're going to put JJ in anyways for the future. But whatever, it is what it is now. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's a speedy recovery. Hopefully it's only 3 or 4 weeks. Obviously we wish the best for JJ.
Absolutely. And we're gonna honor the super chat in a second. But Eric, thank you for saying get the likes up, go blue. Let's absolutely hit that like button. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thank
you,
you, Eric. Shout out to Eric, man. Shout out to Jackson Johnson for the $5 super chat. Sam Darnold is pitiful. Make Jaron Hall the substitute instead. You know what's funny is when Jaron Hall was coming out of, I think he's BYU a year ago, I was actually kind of high on him. I thought he was a pretty solid quarterback coming out of BYU. But he does not seem to have. The coaches aren't giving him the opportunity, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I mean, look, Sam Darnold could shock the world, but I don't think so.
No.
Okay. Next up, so you guys may have heard out there in the chat. Obviously, we've been hearing, because we've been following this, that Michigan was about to give a very appropriate, in my opinion, honorary captainship, given Jim Harbaugh's time as quarterback in the '80s. And then given his, one of the best quarterbacks, that we've had, and was in the '80s and did a great job. And then, of course, coached the Michigan football team. He might have been given an honorary captainship, I think, regardless of everybody's saying this is an FU to the NCAA. But I actually think there's merit to the idea that he might have been named regardless, even if there was nothing going on with the NCAA and the show cause. But he has chosen not to accept the honorary captainship himself. His parents are going to be there, and because Harbaugh is going to focus on getting the Chargers ready for the NFL season. So, TJ, I guess two things. Thoughts on what did you think when this was originally announced, and then this news today?
Man, when it was initially announced, I was amped up. I was like, hell yeah, Michigan's on some FU shit. And this is, it's all tied to the investigation. Okay. So this was my look, I know how Ann Arbor feels about the investigation and where things are trending. And I didn't get to talk about it last week, and I'm not going to get too deep into it right now. But the point is, Michigan on their side feels good about things. So I felt that them I don't know if you guys discussed this or not. I didn't catch everything from last week, but the decision for Jim Harbaugh to be captain, or to be honorary captain of this game was decided in a March. So it was already decided. It just wasn't publicly announced. And then when they publicly announced it, it happened to coincide with the recent leaking of the NCAA. And because of that, so initially, to answer your question, John, I was excited. I was amped up. I thought it was a great move by Michigan. I know how they feel about things, as we saw with Sharon Moore's comments today about him looking forward to his text messages being released to the public. Michigan feels good. There's no evidence. They got nothing on us. They got nothing. And they got much of nothing, except a damn cheeseburger receipt. But, so I was amped up about it. But now that they've decided to, Jim Harbaugh says, I'm going to focus on the team, and Sharon Moore said, they're going to honor Jack and Jackie. In my opinion, this is a bit of a PR move, man. This is a bit of they're kind of saving their asses, and just, they're not trying to poke the bear being the NCAA any more than it needs to be poked, because they know the NCAA, we all know this, has a motive. They have an agenda. They're trying to make an example out of Michigan. So Michigan is essentially staying course, minding their P's and Q's, and they're going to try and get through this. And then, once they get it all resolved and settled, they can move on, because we all know at the end of the day, this is all bullshit. And at the end of the day, NCAA has nothing on us. They're not trying to, we saw how, like, with the article we just mentioned earlier, and we're going to talk about some more, I believe, they are looking for anything to get Michigan. So all they need is a reason, so Michigan's deciding to take the position of, let's just play it safe, and we'll just honor Jack and Jackie, which is, I at least do appreciate the counter move to honor Jack, former coach Jack Harbaugh, former honorary head coach. So, I mean, at least they did that. But, at the end of the day, I was a bit disappointed to see that they decided to move in a different direction.
Yeah. Okay. So first, initially, I was more than pumped up. I thought Jim Harbaugh deserves to have the hero's welcome of 105,000 fans in a night game televised on NBC. The ratings would be through the roof on that game, even though they're playing a lesser opponent in Fresno State. Just because of Harbaugh, it would have been a great scene to have that happen. What's going to happen, I guess we have to be practical here. I'm not sure how many Chargers fans there are. They're growing, though, because of Harbaugh. But I would think if I was a Chargers fan, and maybe I will be now in Southern California, they would be like, what is going on? He's going to go like right before the season starts. And, so it's probably not a great look for his current job for him to make that. So it's a practical choice. He was going to fly coach. He was going to drive down to San Diego because the flights are less expensive. And he was going to eat a Subway sandwich, and then he was going to sit 30 rows back in front of the bathroom. That's a long flight when you're in coach. So when coach is in coach, that's it's a little taxing on somebody who's almost 60 years old, I would think.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, Ferris flew on the same flight as Coach Jim Harbaugh, so he's quite aware of how Coach travels. And I mean, I'm with you. It's just a shame. It would have been great to have Jim just come back to Michigan. Have the crowd would have went nuts. I really, exactly. So there's Ferris.
There it
Coach
is.
Jim Harbaugh right there.
You're getting the most out of that picture. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Gotta milk that.
Yeah, so I mean, it just would have been a great scene to have him come back to Ann Arbor, but he'll come back again. I mean, it's not the last. Obviously, it's not the last, and he'll be honorary captain again at some point.
And the reason I bring all this up now, in addition to the breaking news, is that while I was in Target, I got a text from one of you. I think it was TJ. Hey, check out this Detroit Free Press article where there's a whole bunch more from The Price, What It Takes to Win. So we learned a bunch of new excerpts from The Price, What It Takes to Win, which I believe is not just about Michigan. It's also about other elite programs. But But what we found out, just as a TLDR, if you haven't seen it yet, is that the battle, the PR war, and the internal battle between John Duncan and the NCAA and Harbaugh's lawyer, Tom Marsh, was much more heated behind the scenes than we knew. So there was discussions about the burger, the hamburger for breakfast, which you guys can go more into, and whether or not he was there versus not. There was discussion about, if you don't back off, Tom Marsh is going to sue the NCAA for what's called tortious interference. And it does seem like that John Duncan and the NCAA, at least based on this read of it from the Detroit Free Press, it looked to me like they were looking for literally anything to try to pin Harbaugh and Michigan to some type of wrongdoing. That's what it looked like to me. And on the other side, Ward Manuel, he really just seemed to have a very whatever attitude about the whole thing. He just wanted to do a deal, cook it and book it. Like literally, okay, let's just get this thing wrapped up and move on with our lives, instead of trying to actually stand up. So it seemed like the only person who was really standing up to these guys was Harbaugh and Tom Marsh, Jim Harbaugh's lawyer. So yeah. I'll start with TJ. Like, what was your read on it? Give me some of the things that really stuck out to you from the Free Press article and the excerpts from the book.
Well, the first thing that stuck out to me was how Grant Newsom had a similar situation, and they basically gave Grant Newsom a slap on the wrist, or not even a slap on the wrist, a simple, okay, thank you, and let's keep it moving. Where Jim Harbaugh, they're trying to make an example out of him. Because like I said earlier in our show, like the NCAA has an agenda. There's definitely a motive. And, Tom Marsh, it's like, look at the email thing, right? So Tom Marsh had 24 hours to go through 6,800 emails. He asked for an extension and they wouldn't allow it. So essentially, non-compliance is what the NCAA said, which is complete bullshit, because they simply asked for an extension of time to review these emails. So it just goes to show that the NCAA has a bone to pick with Harbaugh. We all knew that. Look at like what happened with what they found last week on $100, like getting a recruit verified on Instagram, or you got a $100 charity check or going to a recruit's charity. Like, these are nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like, the things the NCAA is trying to get on Michigan is just insane. And to your point, John, about Tom Marsh and Jim Harbaugh wanting to fight and go to battle. I mean, listen, it was quite obvious that was the case, and we know that, and we know it's been leaked, or Jim Harbaugh has felt that Ward Manuel did not have his back in support of the Regents, against the Regents, because the Regents wanted to go a certain direction, and that's the issue. And that is why Jim Harbaugh felt, and this is also in the book that's going to be coming out at the end of August, it was time to go to the NFL. But at the end of the day, if he had the full backing of the university, from Regents to athletic director, I don't believe Jim Harbaugh, and I know there's going to be people in the comments, I know there's going to be people watching this, both audio and video, but I believe Harbaugh would still be at Michigan if he had if he had what he wanted in terms of support from the entire university, the full strength of the university, but he didn't. And it's not all Regents either. Just so from my understanding, there are some Regents who were willing to go to battle. There are other Regents who do not want to go to battle. And we've said it here before. Look, Ward has been doing a better job since March, since Dusty Mayhire, Sharon Moorhire, and a bunch of other things in NIL, and A to Z. He's been doing much better. But Ward is a yes man. He does what the Regents wants. He does his job, but he doesn't push the envelope, and that's the problem. And Jim needs somebody who to have his back, because Jim is somebody who pushes the envelope. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate to see how it all went down, and the NCAA is still a pain in our ass. I mean, look what we're dealing with. I also am looking forward to Sharon Moore's text messages getting released and seeing what that's all about, because that was a lot about nothing, bro. Because the text messages,
release the texts. What's the thing about, like, release the records, or release the texts?
Yeah. Like, freaking dude. All right, so the text messages were deleted. They found the text messages. There's nothing in the text messages. So what the hell does it matter? I mean, sure, you may say, well, the act of doing it looks bad. Well, what is the substance of the text? Nothing. There's nothing in them. The NCAA has found nothing from the entire way. I can't wait to see this this Connor Stallions documentary. Not that it's going to give us all the answers, because I'm sure it's not. But the reality of the situation is, and we're all going to find this out, Buckeyes included, they got nothing on us. There's no evidence tying them to Michigan staff. They got nothing. They're making this big circus out of hatred. Really, that's what it comes down to. If this was another university, it wouldn't be going to this distance.
All right, there's a lot there, lot to unpack. But the first thing I'll say is I was going to do a detailed smash the numbers on Donovan Edwards and Alex Orji, but then this news came out on Sunday, and I thought I should comment on it. I thought I'd go 20 minutes. I ended up going 40 minutes. I went through only half of the article. The part of the art. So first, separate things. There are two different things going on. There's Connor Stallions over here, and then we have the Hamburger Gate over there. Hamburger Gate happened first. And what's new out of that is that Grant Newsome news, that Grant Newsome did something very similar to Jim Harbaugh. He did not recall. Right. Now, when you don't recall something, that does not mean that you're lying. Okay, for example, you put that picture up of me with Jim Harbaugh. I remember that picture. I remember the date. But does Jim Harbaugh remember meeting me, the fact that he was eating a Subway, all that kind of stuff? He probably doesn't. He meets thousands of people, right? So I doubt that he remembers me, right, in that kind of context. So what ended up happening is there's a diner. The diner serves breakfast. It's very unclear from what was written whether Jim Harbaugh was actually getting takeout or was he there. It was a little fuzzy, even that part. But a recruit was there. Jim was there. They were talking, whatever. But Jim Harbaugh did not recall that situation. So only later, when they showed receipts to him, which is actually what's done when you are when you're actually investigating in real life, not NCAA, when it's in a court of law with police or whatever, you do show, hey, we have this receipt. Does that help? Does that help with your memory in terms of what happened? And the smoking gun that was here was that Jim Harbaugh ordered a hamburger for breakfast. And he came to his own realization that nobody else orders a hamburger for breakfast. So therefore, it's got to be me. I guess I was there that day. I admit it, so to speak. Now, the NCAA didn't want to just accept that. They wanted to take another step and say, all right, great. Now tell us on record that you were lying.
Yeah.
And that's where Jim Harbaugh said, no, I didn't recall buying and we're talking about a $7 hamburger. We're talking about something that is kind of in between the price of a McDonald's hamburger and a Five Guys hamburger. That's what we're saying. That's what we're talking about here. So
and remember, there's Lambos in the parking lots. There's Porsches in the parking lots. There's at Baylor, they have shirts that say "We pay players." Hundreds of thousands, or even in Bryce Underwood's case, millions of dollars. And this is what is being attacked, a $7 burger.
Yeah. So that's at a diner named Benny's. If anybody has been to Benny's, let me know. I mean, I looked at some pictures there. I usually go to Zingerman's on the south side, which is a lot cheaper than Zingerman's Deli when I go there. This is Benny's, I believe, is on the south side of Ann Arbor. Okay, the other thing that was interesting to me was the leaks. All right, so I've been very frustrated with the NCAA leaking things. I've been thinking that they've been leaking things. Now I realize that it might be in retaliation for what they think Marsh did, Harbaugh's lawyer, Tom Marsh, what he did. Now, I don't know for sure that he did, but the NCAA certainly thinks that he was leaking information way back then, a year plus ago. Yeah. And this is kind of a retaliation for that. So there's all kinds of things going on here. The NCAA wanted Tom Marsh, his phone. And I don't know where you can ask for something like that. A lawyer's phone, there is the concept of attorney-client kind of privilege, but this is NCAA. Do they get to do things that are above and beyond what you can do in real life? And can you actually ask for? Is that a fair ask to ask a lawyer for his phone? I mean, that seems like that's going to the line and then going way over the line in terms of what is reasonable to ask for.
Yeah, I mean, look, the NCAA oversteps itself. It doesn't even have, just so you know, coaches don't even have to turn their phones in. They don't, the NCAA has no jurisdiction like to power on any of it. It's just if coaches determine not to turn phones in, then they get non-compliance. That's the issue. There's no legal responsibility from anyone to turn anything into the NCAA. It's just the NCAA is its own governing body, so it can make the rules. But then those rules can be challenged in court, which we see from schools like Tennessee or Texas A&M, and then the NCAA stands down. But in regards to the leaks affairs, okay, for one, the leaks themselves from the NCAA are against NCAA protocol. Nothing is supposed to be released. Any information is not supposed to be released until the notice of allegations has been presented to a university. That has not happened. Secondly, the new set of leaks is a different tactic. It's a PR strategy to try and get the public opinion on their side. But what's funny is, and we've all seen this, a lot of national media, they're laughing at this shit. Paul Feinbaum's laughing at this shit. Brady Quinn's laughing at this shit. A bunch of national media, heads, talking heads I think this is a joke. Colin Cowherd's laughing at this shit. It's just, the reality is the NCAA looks bad. And they're also, I do not think it's a coincidence that the Connor Stallions documentary gets, it's going to be released, end of August, early September, or something like that.
27th.
The 27th of August. So they then leak to, of course, Ohio State fanboy Pete Thamel, the NCAA leak. The leak from the draft of the notice of allegations to try and get ahead of the curve. This is a PR tactic. This is chess. This is a form of chess. It's very obvious what's occurring.
Yeah, I agree with the concept that they don't really have anything. So, when the saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, that's not really the case. You can create smoke and there isn't really a fire there. And the NCAA, in my view, really didn't have much. So the way that they can punish Michigan is in the court of public opinion, or at least that's what they tried to do, right? Mm-hmm. One other thing, because we've been talking Brown Jug, and now we're talking Benny's. Yeah. There's two different hamburger places. The Brown Jug, at least in the article, was described as the thing that Grant Newsom did in the Brown Jug. Was Harbaugh there or not? I don't know. But in the article, it talks specifically about Grant Newsom, and he didn't recall being there, but then later he was. Okay. Later he said, okay, I guess I was there. After he asked for his lawyer, because they were really, when somebody asks you questions like that about something that happened 18 months ago, do we all remember exactly what we ordered? All that kind of stuff from 18 months ago. And then in terms of, being in I think there was a comment about, there was an anonymous coach who said Michigan's attitude is to go to the line and then cross it in terms of, what's legal and not, right? Well, first of all, Michigan has no way to respond to that because it's a leak. We're listening to a leak, so they're supposed to stay quiet. The other thing is, I'd like to ask everyone in this chat. I think in my neighborhood, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour. Where I lived in Northville, I think it was 25 miles an hour. Do any of you go up to 25 miles an hour and then all of a sudden, when you don't think there are any cops around, maybe you push that to 30, maybe you push it to 27? Do you go to the line and then just cross it a little bit? Do you think that going 5 miles over is totally okay? Because a lot of people seem to think that if you're a cheater, period. If you go 26 into 25, you've broken the law. You deserve 4 years.
Reading into this burger thing, that's what that's the same equivocation. That's what they're doing there. But sorry guys, we have a lot of topics. We really got to keep rolling here. And we've got go for it, TJ.
The reality is they're all going 35. It's just some are getting caught and most are not. That's the reality of the situation.
Yep. Absolutely. Moose, everybody throw the Moose emojis in the chat because he just gifted 5 subscriptions to Dependent Fanatic, Michael Jones, Mitten Maid, yet again, ZZM/Madamus Prime Entertainment is getting another membership, and Nuber. So the 5 of you have 30 free days of Those Who Stay Will Be Champions membership, and we appreciate you, Moose.
Yeah, thank you, Moose.
We also have another super chat from Drufus. What up, boys? Go blue.
What
Go
up,
blue?
Drufus?
Right back at you.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Couple of quick things here as we wrap up. We do have YouTube memberships, as you just saw. Moose just gifted 5 of them. For just $2.99, you too could have all the emojis, the badge, get the green name in your name there. And then as you go up the ladder, so you've got $2.99 for leaders and best. You've got $4.99 a month for Those Who Stay Will Be Champions, which also gets you access to our monthly hangout. And then our $9.99 a month for the Connor Stallions Espionage Team membership. So all of those, you could start with just $2.99 being a YouTube member. And then we do try to highlight if you notice, almost every comment that I highlight that isn't a super chat is a YouTube member comment, because that we want to make sure that the people who are paying the YouTube memberships, their comments get priority. So any additions to that, TJ and Ferris?
No, not at all. Just that we appreciate all of our members and all of our members that are gifting our memberships. And then also to anyone who is a leaders in best or higher, we do a monthly hangout, VIP hangout at the end of the month. We've had 2 of those now. They've been great. We get a lot.
The $4.99. Yep.
Yep. And we're getting a lot of good feedback. We appreciate that. And no, man, just looking forward to it. And we have, I don't know if you announced this last week, John, we have eclipsed over 100 members to the channel. So great milestone for us. We really appreciate it, guys. And we obviously cannot do it without you guys. So shout out to you guys. We appreciate our community. We have the best community in the network, and we may have the best community in the entire Michigan beat. So shout out to everybody that's a part of that.
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect when we decided to have the memberships, and it's gone way past what our expectations would be. It's just fantastic. It is so much fun doing those monthly membership hangouts. It's great. And you know what? TJ has some insider information sometimes there, so that he can't really talk about on the air. So
that's true.
Another little side note there.
We do drop some information that is not for public consumption at times. Yeah. We definitely had some good takes on the CMU situation in the last one.
It's true. So definitely check out that monthly member hangout by being part of the Those Who Stay at $4.99 or higher. As you can see, also the names are mentioned in the ticker as well. If the gifted memberships may not, because we just have so many freaking members at this point. So we want to give priority to people paying for the membership. And so if you see your name here and you're paying for a membership, fantastic. And thanks to Double J, Jackson Johnson in the house.
My man.
Really appreciate you. Mike, yeah, a lot of our members are here, even including Buckeye members. We got Buckeye members. Doreen is here. So we really appreciate everybody who's a member, whether you're a Michigan fan, a Buckeye fan, anybody.
Yeah, just a reminder, those who are in the marching band practice just as much as players. I know this from friends. So
yeah.
It is.
So regarding the quarterback coach, Coach Costner, who was the quarterback coach at CMU, he was let go. He's definitely tied to the situation. It was a strategic move by Central Michigan to let him go because now they can avoid non-compliance, because if he's not a part of the staff, he's under no obligation to, just like Connor Stallions, you have no obligation to talk to the NCAA. They can get no information out of you. He was definitely a part of he was a major factor in Connor Stallions being on the sideline for Central Michigan. Coach Costner, I think it's Costner. I could be wrong on the last name there. I think it's Costner. he was formerly at Michigan for 4 years, so that's how there was a relationship built. There is a little bit more to that, which we talked about in the member hangout, but that's essentially the gist of it. So yeah, it is what it is.
And just to be clear, I think all three of us agree that. Well, you tell me if you disagree, but I believe Connor Stallions was subcontracting with CMU. That's the only logical explanation, because you can't just go to the bookstore and buy that outfit, right? So it has to be with CMU involvement. It is if Connor Stallions actually wanted to record, why not be 5 or 6 rows up out of TV camera view? He can have a super zoom lens. He can sneak in a tripod, and he could have something on his hat, like a GoPro on his hat, and he doesn't have to worry about getting found out, so to speak.
Yeah. So he is
with CMU. That's my belief. I think that's the only logical explanation, actually.
There's no belief. That's what happened. So essentially, Jay Costner's how Connor got the clothing and the apparel for Central Michigan. And then the reason why he was in disguise is because he was helping Central Michigan for their scouting for the Michigan State game. He was not there on behalf of Michigan. This was essentially a
subcontracting.
Yeah,
his work,
Jay,
right?
because Connor Stallions is known. He was known in the industry as one of the best. You will find out in this documentary the depth that this goes. There was a snippet that was released that shows his dedication to this craft, which he was. We know this. He was obsessed with his job. He had a passion for it. He was somebody who was willing to go above and beyond. He's the type of individual where he will figure out a way to get it done. It just may not be 100% legal in doing so. And there's a lot of people like that. You see that in corporate, you see that all over the place. So, yeah, I mean, it just, at the end of the day, Michigan was not involved in that situation, which is why they got nothing on Michigan and why Michigan feels so good. And it's also, at the end of the day, they cannot link Connor Stallions to the higher level of the coaching staff because there's nothing. There is nothing. And that's what the NCAA is upset about, because now they look like clowns. So they're out for blood. They're trying to make an example. That's why they're looking for text messages that have nothing. That's why they're getting upset with Coach Cleanscale for getting a kid verified on Instagram. Like, what the hell is that shit, bro? Like, we're talking about the stuff that goes on in college football. I am aware of some things. There are some things I won't mention because they're not out yet. But I did mention one thing that Florida State was doing some months ago. Like, that shit is nuts, man. The things that are going on in college football that I've had confirmed to me, and that some things have leaked. We know about the McDonald's bags of Tennessee. We see what Texas is doing with the exotic cars in the driveway. And yes, Baylor did just put on a bunch of shirts. We pay players, although NIL is legal, but what is not legal is financial inducement of NIL. Like the NCAA is going to try and crack down on that. Good luck. Whatever. Long story short, it's a joke. It's just a flat out joke.
Yeah, I want to talk football.
Let me also throw this.
Okay.
Let me throw this for the Buckeyes. For the Buckeyes, listen, you guys were playing NIL before it was ever legal. You're not clean. Don't think you are. And I got quotes from Maurice Corrett. I got quotes from a bunch of former players. We know how Urban Meyer got down. You're not a clean ass program, so get out of here.
Let's thank Moose for some more gifted memberships. My boy Darbo, we're in a group chat together, and he's got some great insights on football. So Darbo's got a 30 days of those stay, thanks to Moose. Casey Mallory, who's an Iowa Hawkeye fan. So we've got an Iowa Hawkeye member now. Casey Mallory with 30 days of those who stay, as well as Clay Johansson. And last but not least, Jeremy has also gifted a membership of those who stay will be champions, and he's gifted to Wolverine Gage. So thanks to everybody who's gifting memberships. Now, so many more people can enjoy the emojis if they just hit refresh, get all the emojis.
Absolutely. Thank you, Moose. Thank you, Jeremy, for contributing to the community. We appreciate that.
One more reminder before we get to football stuff. This show's going to go probably closer to 2 hours, but it is what it is. We got a lot of shit to talk about still.
Hey, I'm here for it.
remember to subscribe to SEC football at the Voice of College Football. Mark Rogers and his cast of hosts and talent do some great work over there with the Texas show, with the Oklahoma show, with everything that they do. So I think they're pretty close. They need what, like 70 more to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if everybody doesn't mind giving the SEC channel a sub to help Mark out, that would be really awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen here, John, just to show
Sweet.
everybody what it is. So we have another channel within the network. It's the SEC channel at the Voice of College Football. If you guys could help us out, help us get to 1,000 subscribers, because if we get to 1,000 subscribers, it's another channel within the network that's monetized. We're trying to grow the network and get every channel to a point where it is monetized. So if you guys can just go over there, subscribe to it, we greatly appreciate that. It really helps us out. We're 89 away, so we're not too far from our goal. It would mean a lot to us if you guys can help us get there, because as we've talked about, we are climbing a network not only for the channel but as a network, and this is just another step in that direction.
Absolutely. So with all that said, here we go. Fall camp. So they've actually been releasing some stuff about fall camp, which is very exciting. We're getting a little bit more from the social media team, and kind of different snippets. But the piece that I think is interesting is after the initial reports of Jack Tuttle maybe doing a little bit better, now it does seem like Alex Orji first and then Davis Warren second are kind of emerging in fall camp. So TJ, I know you have some updates for us. I mean, how are you feeling about how the team is coming together in fall camp here?
Yeah, so we have a lot. We got a lot of fall camp intel here. So stay tuned, everybody, because we got you here. Look, first of all, I want to hit on that Jack Tuttle. We've heard some smoke about that. Listen, there was one source driving that, and I have not heard it anywhere else. I've also not had it confirmed to me on my end. What is true though is that in spring ball, or not in the practices leading up to fall camp, Jack Tuttle was a bit sharper. But again, this is not fall camp. This is a different dynamic. And as fall camp has started, what we have seen is Alex Orji has been the quarterback that has been the one that has been standing out. He's looked the best so far through all the practices. He's been consistent. His accuracy has been more on point. He's making better decisions. He's making better reads. He is currently the front runner. And if anyone saw Sharon Moore's press conference today, or his interview, or his press conference he did to the media today, he said they asked him, when are you going to announce a quarterback? He says it may be a week before the game, it may be a day before the game, it might be right before the game. But please understand, the reason why that is you're not going to give the opponent any advantage, and you're especially not going to give Texas the luxury of only scouting one quarterback, right? So you're going to make Texas scout them all, game plan for them all. So this way it takes more time out of their preparation. But at the end of the day, it does appear that Alex Orji is doing what we all would like to see, and that is showing that he is QB1 for Michigan. Now, it's not over. There's still more weeks left in camp. Davis Warren has also looked good in camp. Jack Tuttle, from my understanding, is not fully healthy at this time. He still has maybe some lingering injury issues that are potentially holding him back from his full potential. But a player that I do want to spotlight in the quarterback room is Jayden Davis, the freshman. By all accounts, he's really standing out for his age. Sharon Moore talked about that today. He says he's extremely happy with the current development of Jayden Davis and how he's commanding the field and making his decisions. So that's great. But some other points on the rest of the team, John. Tyler Morris has been standing out. He's starting to look like a weapon. They really feel like they have a wide receiver one here. Moving to the offensive line, Josh Preby and Giovanni El-Hadi look dominant. Like they feel like they may have the best guard duo in the Big Ten coming this season, which we're used to. Last year we had Keegan and Zach Zenner, so we are used to a power guard dynamic. We may have another one this year. And then what's very interesting, and we've talked about this on our show, and anyone who's been watching us since spring ball, we know that the right tackle position is a bit of a question. Well, there appears to be a three-way battle. It's not just Jeff Percy and Andrew Gentry, but the young Evan Link is making it a real battle here. And he's actually really impressing the coaches. And he may very well be the starting right tackle for Michigan. It's not settled yet. There's still a lot more practices to go. But Evan Link is really giving Andrew Gentry and Jeff Percy a run for their money. So we'll find out where that goes. And then the last thing I want to hit on for offense before we transition to defense is Marlon Klein has been a monster. They really believe that Marlon Klein is going to really take that next step this year and look to be the tight end who's going to take the torch from Colson Loveland after this season. But really, they feel like he's going to have a strong impact this year and be productive for them. So that's great. And I don't know if you guys wanted to hit on any of that before we move on to defense, but a lot of great intel so far coming out of fall camp. And there's actually been a lot of intel this year versus previous years. And that may be a Sharon Moore thing, really. I mean, that might be the difference because I've learned more in the first couple weeks of fall camp than I have in the past few years.
Yeah, that's a really good point about maybe it's not Fort Knox as much as it used to be, right? So maybe we'll see.
Right.
So Orji, I think there were some of us were kind of worried, may have been worried that, hey, he's throwing interceptions. Somebody said he's at an 8 or 15% interception rate or something. Well, I play tennis, and when I practice my serve, yesterday I was practicing my serve. I was trying to spin the ball. I was trying to hit left hand. I played tennis ambidextrous, so I was trying to do serves left-handed. And it's not going to be 80% hit rate with the serves. It's going to be like 50% because I'm working on things. It's entirely possible that they asked Orji to not run, to hold the ball and throw and do it under duress. And he is playing against one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the country
Right.
as well. So
Right.
I would not be worried at all about Orji working on stuff. Stats that you get in practice are you have no idea if they literally said tie one hand behind your back and try to run around and then throw and don't run for a first down, instead throw. Do only rolling to the left, then spin around and throw the ball. That may not be a very high percentage throw, that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't look too much into that. The magic number for me, I know you guys said 62%. Even over 60 is fine with me in terms of completion percentage. They run more than 62, 63%, somewhere in there or higher in terms of the percentage of plays that are run. 60% completion, low interceptions, low penalties. And I think we will be fine with Alex Orji. And that's what I would say.
So I'll say to have a good season, I think 60 is fine. The reason why I have 62 is because I want to repeat. I think we need that type of level of quarterback play to repeat as a national champion. But I hear you. I don't think we'd be angry with 60%. I also think that's a number that can be improved on by next year. But agreed though. Look, Alex Orji is playing against one of the, as Juju pointed out in the comments, shout out to Juju, best defense all year that he may go against all year. I mean, it's just great to hear that things are going so well for him. I know John probably has a take on it, so I'm not going to take too much of his shine, but it's just good to see that Alex Orji is really showing out right now.
Yeah, I love everything I'm hearing. I love that Alex Orji has been laser focused on practicing and making sure that his passing ability is up to snuff. Everybody knows he can run. Everybody saw him run against the absolute best teams we faced in 2023. But the question was always passing ability. And could he execute an RPO where on occasion you actually got to pass it? Because if you run it every time and you're the starting quarterback, it's one thing if you're coming in for a package. It's another thing if you're running an entire game. Occasionally you got to throw, Antoine may disagree with me if he's here, but occasionally you got to throw the football a couple of times, okay? So maybe it might be 10 times, but you've got to throw the football a couple of times. So there's that. I will say one thing that stuck out to me was that Tyler Morris is coming into his own as a receiver to the point where he could be the number one receiver That is awesome because I feel like with the wide receivers in general, you see these like blips of awesomeness. Like Cornelius Johnson had like a blip where he was really, really good, and then a lot of time where he was a non-factor. Roman Wilson, I think, was the exception where he just in 23, he seemed consistently good. But before that, same thing. Blips of really good play, blips where kind of a non-factor until the national title season where he really was good all year. So hearing that Tyler Morris might be a Roman Wilson type where he can be consistently good and be an option aside from Colston Loveland, aside from Marlon Klein, get some receivers in the mix. That to me was the most striking point from the offense.
Yeah, and another thing I missed on the offensive side of the ball, Jordan Marshall is looking good. Sharon Moore even hit on that today. He's saying he's making a run. He's making it a battle for the RB3. Now, he did say Ben Hall might have something to say about that. When you have a player like Jordan Marshall who's playing as well as he is in his first fall camp, it makes guys like Ben Hall run a little harder. So it does appear from Sharon Moore's comments that it is a Ben Hall, Jordan Marshall battle for RB3, which, I mean, on our end as a fan, that's exactly what we want to hear because both those, I mean, obviously Jordan Marshall had more hype coming out of high school, a more highly ranked recruit, but Ben Hall, as we know, has maybe a potential gem unearthed, high potential, very strong player. So if those two can make that a battle. I mean, that just goes to show you the depth too at that position. I mean, so we're in a great place in the running back room, a lot of positives coming out of camp. Sharon Moore seems very happy about the way things are trending. And I'll hit on defense whenever you're ready for that, John.
Well, I do just want to really quick thank Moose for another gifted membership. This one went to Joe Long, who I believe is a USC fan. He hangs out in the USC channel a lot. So now we've got a USC fan member. We've got an Iowa member. Quite a few joining the Those Who Stay Will Be Champions. And that's all I had. And feel free to go to defense.
Yeah, actually, I had one question for TJ because we didn't cover it. We talked about it last week, but I want to know your opinion because we had actually talked about output from wide receivers in terms of yards versus output from tight ends. And I thought they would be really, really close. You know, that was a topic we talked about last week. What do you think, TJ, in terms of yards from tight ends versus wide receivers? Who's going to win that battle?
No, I think that's actually a great topic because, listen, I think obviously we're going to be a power run heavy offense like we've been, especially with a running capable quarterback. But where is our air yards going to come from? And I think when you have two targets like Marlon Klein, Colston Loveland. So I don't know your guys' opinion on it. But I will say, you know, I do think you might see a balance. I think that's very fair to say that Colston Loveland and Marlon Klein may have a near similar production point as Tyler Morris and Samaj Morgan and Fred Moore. Now, I would say I would probably lean on the side of maybe a 60-40 distribution from wide receiver to tight end. I would expect the wide receivers to have a higher production, but not much. And especially when you have the number one tight end in the nation in Colston Loveland, and then you have this up and comer in Marlon Klein, who is faster than Marlon Klein. For those who don't know, because I know there's a lot of people now getting into football mode. We have NFL picking up. We got the college just a couple weeks away. Marlon Klein is taller than Colston Loveland. Marlon Klein is faster than Colston Loveland. Marlon Klein is an extremely gifted athlete who they are very high on. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be better than Colston Loveland by any means, but I am saying the archetype of player that Marlon Klein is at tight end is ideal. He should be a threat, and he's playing well in camp. They have the coaching staff thinks very highly of Marlon Klein. So yeah, I think I would go 60-40 distribution split. And I think it will be fairly close, Ferris.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it would be close to 50-50, but we'll see. Yeah, that was kind of the
it's something we'll monitor.
Surprise, on that tight end position versus wide receiver. So
definitely something we should keep an eye on all season. Something that we could definitely touch on later in the year.
And Moose, thanks again. And this time, John Shaw got gifted a membership. So John Shaw, I don't know who you root for. Feel free to type it in the chat. But welcome to those 30 days to try out the Those Who Stay Will Be Champions membership. Okay.
All right. So
TJ, defense?
transition to defense, and we got a lot here. So Barnum has been a monster. Barnum has been everything is advertised. We've been talking about it since spring ball. He's added some extra weight. He's apparently unblockable or very difficult to block. I mean, I'm sure he's getting blocked occasionally, but the word out of Ann Arbor is he is being very disruptive. They are using him to rush the passer. They're putting him in the Sam role. They also have him dropping back in coverage. He's athletic enough to handle that. He was Pro Football Focus's #1 rated linebacker last season. We now have him. And listen, there's been some talk that he's playing at a high level, similar to a very famous linebacker who was here recently by the name of Devin Bush. Now, I'm not going to say that. I mean, that's high. That's incredibly high praise. He went top 10 in the first round. But I guess there's those type of vibes coming out of Ann Arbor that he's playing at that type of level right now. And if we can get that type of production out of Jay Sean Barnum, then goodness gracious, look out, because this defense is going to be insane. And it will be insane anyways. Zeke Berry is the next player I'm going to hit on. And there's a very strong belief out of Ann Arbor that he's the next cornerstone player. He's the next name to know that he's really shining at that role, which is going to be the nickel back role, which is the third corner in this versatile defense. And anyone who's new to what's Michigan up to, what's the defense going to look like, who are the new names. Zeke Berry is the name to know. They are expecting to be an impact player. It's his year to take that next step. And then very interesting, because we've had this debate all summer, who's going to be cornerback 2. I was a big fan of Amir Hall, but word out Ann Arbor is Jair Hill is actually taking the role of CB2, which is great to hear because he's a highly ranked recruit. Jair Hill is currently starting opposite of Will Johnson and holding his own, playing very well. They're very confident so far that in his play. He's really shown up and he's understanding the playbook. He's doing his thing. But hey, Amir Hall is no slouch himself, is also playing very well in camp. Michigan actually feels like it has 3 starting caliber cornerbacks in obviously Will Johnson, who's going to go first round projected top 10, Amir Hall and Jair Hill. So if you have 3 quarterbacks, you have a quarterback who can pinch hit, or you can sub them in or put them in those more diverse packages. That's great. So the fact, and what I'm going to get to at the end of my defensive breakdown for fall camp is, which I'll get to it, but so I'll hit on, all right, so Quentin Johnson next, right? So at the safety position, we've also had the debate, who is going to start next to Makari Page? Well, as it stands right now, Quentin Johnson is currently starting opposite of Makari Page, and they're saying Quentin Johnson looks comfortable. He's playing the role very well. It's his year. He waited his entire career to get the starting opportunity. He was going to enter into the NFL draft. He did not. He pulled back. So this is his year to take the opportunity as a starter, and we're going to see what he can do with it. But by all accounts, he's stepping up in camp. And then this is a very big one, Rayshawn Benny. Rayshawn Benny has played extremely well in camp, so this will be our 3rd defensive tackle. This is that rotational depth piece. This was also a pretty highly ranked recruit coming out of high school. He played last year as well, but he was coming back from an injury. He is 100% healthy, ready to go, and he's playing very well. And that is where I want to get to when I close on my camp notes. There was concern heading into the season at a lack of depth because of how many players we lost in the draft. We did lose a little bit of players in the transfer portal. But what Michigan is finding is they may have more depth than they thought. Players like TJ Guys stepping up. We're going to get into, when we do position previews, we're going to hit on some other names, which I won't get into now. I'll save some of that information for that. But in terms of the defensive line, but there appears to be more depth. For example, Jayden McBurrows is playing very well also in camp, who's going to be backing up Zeke Berry. I just told you about Amir Hall backing up Jair Hill. And then, defensive line, there's also some players there, which we'll hit on in the next topic. But the point being is Michigan may not be as short as depth as they thought they were going to be heading into this. And as Sharon Moore said, he's extremely happy with where we are right now in camp. Things are going extremely well. And that's great to hear because, as I said, we are a damn good team. We think this defense is going to be top 5, possibly #1, if no question, top 10. And then if Alex Orji can be as advertised, we're in for a hell of a season, boys.
Wow. Okay. That was worth the price of admission right there, TJ. Yeah, great job.
Get it.
All right.
Good
So
info.
yeah, we lost Mike Sanastriel. We lost Junior Colson. We lost Chris Jenkins. Will this defense be better than last year? Those are three huge losses there, right? So plus
Yeah.
more,
So
yeah,
yeah.
literally more, but yeah.
It's a
So
great question. It's a great
yeah.
question. If Rod Moore was not injured, I would say absolutely. That's my hesitancy because Rod Moore is an all Big Ten caliber safety. I think this defense has the potential to be better than last year's championship winning defense. No question about it. And another player which I did not hit on that Moose did hit on, which is Cole Sullivan. So for example, Sharon Moore was asked what freshman could have an impact this year. Cole Sullivan was a name he mentioned. There were some other names he mentioned, but I want to save it for our position preview. There's a couple guys listen, there's even more good info coming out of camp, but I want to save it for our position preview, which we're going to do on defensive line coming up. But like, guys, honestly, like camp is going well. And it's not even like some Michigan bias. Like if we wouldn't be getting some of these positive reports if things were not really trending in a certain direction. So yeah, Cole Sullivan's definitely been stepping up. TJ Guy is another one, which we will hit on. And there's another name I'll save for our position preview.
Well, I think that's a good transition. So I think we've teased it enough. We're talking the trenches today, and we're talking D-line. And given some of the departures last year, like Chris Jenkins and others, this D-line especially with Mason Graham, who was fourth in the entire country last year. He had 90 Pro Football Focus. There are actually people projecting him to go first in the draft. Now, I think that's pretty high for a DL, but still, if anybody's saying he's first in the draft, that's pretty crazy for an interior defensive lineman. I think he'll probably go top 10, top 15, but still, anywhere in that top is pretty great for an interior D lineman. And then Kenneth Grant, obviously, 32nd in the country, the big fella with an 80.4, but that's not all, folks, because you've also got Josiah Stewart and Derek Moore on the edges. So with these four, TJ, I'll start with you. Do you think this could become the strongest front four in Michigan history?
It's a great question because the only line that I would argue would be that 2016 line with Chase Winovich, Rashawn Gary, Maurice Hurst, and then I think Brian Monet might have been a part of that as well, a couple others. But this defensive line should be a damn problem for everybody because I fully expect Derek Moore to take another step up. Josiah Stewart, another year in the playbook. And we know what Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham are, the best defensive tackle duo in the nation. This very well could be the best defensive line in Michigan history. It very well could. It's up to Derek Moore and Josiah Stewart to take it to that next level. And guess what? With Wink Martindale, it very well may. And another thing, Jayden Barham is going to be blitzing the quarterback. He's going to be playing the Sam role. We may very well get that sack production, with Wink Martindale at the helm. So it could be, John. It really could be. It has that potential.
And what you're saying is crazy because we lost. Okay, so we lost Chris Jenkins, we lost Junior Colson, who else? Jalen Harrell, Michael Barrett. We lost a ton of players, and we could be better than last year. Jayden Barham. What I like about this concept of you've got Grant and Graham and attention there. Does that allow Barham to do his thing in a way that he's not that he couldn't before in his career?
Exactly. A defensive tackle is a linebacker's best friend because they take on the block and they make they allow the linebacker to do his job and handle his responsibility. Look, listen, Chris Jenkins was a good player, but he wasn't our best player. Okay. And we have both of our starting defensive tackles and starting edges back this year. So what we lost was more role. Junior Colson was obviously a key figure in our defense, but Jayden Barham may be an upgrade. Michael Barrett was a very good player, but Ernest Hausman may be an upgrade. Will Johnson's a
He
year
was
old.
basically 1B too. Like Hausman was getting so many reps. I call him 1B.
Like,
yeah, I have my notes here. I'm just looking. He was in 15 games last year, so he was in all.
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah,
and like so. As the defense as a whole, absolutely, it very well may be a better team, which is crazy. But at the end, the thing is too is like what we're going to get into is like these are the starters. Wait till we get into the depth pieces, because I think this four here has the potential to be the best defensive line in Michigan history, and we're going to find out. I mean, I really, Josh Preby has said it is a handful to try and deal with Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. Like, it is extremely difficult to battle that in practice. So we're going to find out. It's up to Josiah Stewart and Derek Moore to take it to the next level, as well as another player, which we're going to hit on with our next, right here, TJ Guy. So TJ Guy, for anybody, again, getting familiar with the roster, getting ready, getting prepped and primed for the season that's about to be coming, TJ Guy is the next name to know. We have been on the TJ Guy hype train since March. We've been all over that, and we have not let you down, because all accounts out of camp, and this is one of the names I did not hit on, he is showing out. He's looking great. Sherrone Moore even doubled down on that today, even though I got some intel last week about how well he was doing. I was unable to be on the show. But TJ Guy's playing great. Now Etta is also transitioning to the 3-tech position. He has been playing well. So you are going to see, and this is the depth I was talking about, you are going to see that rotation. Now, whether, and this is something me and John talked about, and Ferris, we talked about before the show, are we going to see the same rotation with Wink Martindale that we saw with Jesse Minter? Is he really going to rotate 4 defensive linemen? And obviously that comes down to, do you have the talent to do so? Well, it does appear that we have 4 defensive tackles between Enow Etta, Rayshawn Benny, Kenneth Grant, and Mason Graham to keep a healthy rotation and keep guys fresh. Well, on the edges, we also have Josiah Stewart and Derek Moore, as well as TJ Guy. And they're also talking about substituting Jayshon Barham in that Sam role, which will also help alleviate. But another name I want to mention that we haven't mentioned yet, and this is another freshman that Sherrone Moore was talking about, is Dominic Nichols. Dominic Nichols apparently has been looking very good in camp, and Sherrone Moore said today that he feels like Dominic Nichols may have a role this year on the defensive line. And if that is the case, I count a 7-man rotation, and that 7-man rotation should be pretty deadly. Another name we're not mentioning is Keyshawn Bennett. Now, I haven't heard too much out of camp, but I do know he was in the running to be in the rotation. So at the end of the, by all accounts, like I've stated, the depth seems to be better than we anticipated, which is great. Guys are really showing up in camp. We've all seen the weight gain. We hit on that 2 weeks ago, the weight gain coming into camp. Guys look stronger. They're faster. Wink Martindale has said repeatedly, we have a lot of talent. This defense is good. They feel damn good about this defense, man. So it's great to see. It's what we all kind of expected, but it may be a little better than we expected too.
And before you go, Ferris, Moose agrees with you. $5. I agree, TJ. I believe this defense could be better than last year. Ferris, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think that 15-0 team, but yeah, you guys are convincing me. So first thing I'll say is that we have what I call a 9+3 season. We have 9 games which we should win, right, and then we have 3 games that we need to win 1 out of those. We need to run the table on those 9, and then we need to go 1-2 on those other 3 games. I'm just being practical in terms of what it's going to take to make it to the playoffs. If we don't run the table on those 9, we're going to need to win 2 out of those 3 games. That's the way I look at it. So defensive philosophy is a question mark. If there's going to be a rotation, this sounds fantastic. I think, going back to what I said a second ago, for those 9 games, let's get playing time, but let's still have a high level of production, right? For the other 3 games, conditioning for the starters, for the most part. I really hope Will Johnson does not get hurt.
Whoa,
I mean, that is so important. I do not want injuries. He is so important. He can cover half the field, so to speak, and then everything looks good. And yeah, there's a good chance of the team being better than last year on defense. So one other note about 5 stars versus 4 stars versus 3 stars, you can see here because of the rotation that Michigan has, they are looking for players who are unselfish and smart. So you can't have penalties. You can't miss assignments. You may be called in to do in a super huge play to make a play, and then you're out of the game in the next play, and then you might be back. A few plays later. Michigan players have to be different than players in other teams if Wink Martindale is going to do that heavy rotation, which I love. I love the idea of being fresh on defense.
Let guys rest,
in the 3rd and 4th.
and you have the depth to what I love, and we'll get to Moose's super chat to you, Ferris. What I love is just the whole idea of ironing, sharpening iron. So you've got Will Johnson going up against Tyler Morris, and they are just battling it out in practice, right? You've got the O-line, the D-line going up against each other. You've got, I think, Michigan's defense is the best defense Michigan's offense will face until probably Ohio State. Michigan's offense is the best offense that Michigan's defense will face until USC, but still pretty. I mean, I'd probably go a couple of games.
Wait.
So
what about Texas?
Oh shit, Texas. Sorry, Texas and then USC. But the bottom line is, my point is that this is really awesome to see that there are days that the offense is actually beating the defense in camp. Not all the time, just once or twice it's happened, but it's still good news because it means the offense might actually be potent against really good defenses. So love the iron sharpening iron.
Definitely. Yeah, 3 more names I want to hit on, but let's get to Moose's super chat, John. So Moose says, Ferris, I believe Michigan could win 9 games with RD alone. Very well could. I mean, we saw that in 2021, where our defense basically carried that team. Offense did some things here and there, but the defense was really the reason why we made the run we ran. But yeah, again, I think we're going to see another year. We just have a tough schedule, but I think you're going to see another year where this defense really is the anchor to the team, and it's up to the offense to match that. And then if they can match that, then look out. We're in for another strong year, another Big Ten contender, and hopefully a good long playoff run, if not a repeat in the Natty. But 3 more names I want to hit on just so people are at least familiar with these. So 2 more names. So currently we have about what I think is a potential 8-man rotation with the names that I've mentioned. But 2 more names to keep an eye on is Trey Pierce, who's also playing nose tackle. He's a name to look out for. And then Cameron Brandt is another name that I would at least be aware of. You could see him maybe make his way into the rotation. And that is a lot of names. And then maybe some people are like, well, what about Brooks Barr? What's going on with him? So Brooks Barr has actually transitioned from defensive line to inside offensive line. He's going to be likely playing the guard position. So he's no longer playing on the defensive line. But at the end of the day, the defensive line seems very healthy. There are some, and just so you know, there are some highly ranked recruits, some strong recruits we're not even talking about yet because they're simply freshmen. Michigan's defensive line is in a great place for years to come, and we should have a very dominant season with that bunch.
Yeah. Back to Moose's point, just real quick. Like I said, a 9+3 season. We've got to run the table on those 9 games. Hopefully we will. I really like the idea that we're not going to play. I don't think we're going to mess around in that first game, night game. I wish it was Harbaugh that was there, but Harbaugh's parents, okay. We're not going to mess around. We're gonna win that game, and we're going to win it handily. I would have taken the under. I don't bet on things I can't control, but if I did, I would have taken the under in that first game. I changed my mind on that. I think Orgy has a lot to prove. The entire team does. On a night game where all the attention will still be on them because the book coming out, the Connor Stallions, everything's all happening all together at the end of August. So I think that first game is going to give them momentum for that second game, and then the other 2 big games are spread out. So they need to have a plan for the 9 games they should win, and then they need to have kind of an upgraded plan for those other 3 games. And it's nice that they are spread out. They'll have a break in between.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
just
with you.
launched a poll to ask the chat what you think. Do you think that the 2024 Michigan defense could actually outdo the 2023 national championship defense? And we're
It's a
going to
great
find out
question.
what the community thinks.
Yeah, great question, John.
Absolutely. Let's get to the X Factor sleeper and bold prediction for D line. TJ, who you got?
All right. So I actually feel like we're going to have a lot of similar answers here. I'm interested to see if there's any diversity in our responses, but X Factor, it's Mason Graham. He's projected possibly as the #1 overall pick in 2025 NFL draft. He is a difference maker. He's a game changer. He's a game wrecker. Mason Graham is without question my X Factor. My sleeper, and I'm gonna be honest, I slightly cheated here. I have 2. And the reason why I have 2 is because I don't know if this one's even a sleeper with all the hype he's getting. My first one is TJ Guy. TJ Guy is the sleeper. He's the name to know. He's next up. He will be the next dominant defensive lineman to come out of the University of Michigan. And the other one that I'm going to throw, and maybe I shouldn't do this because I might be stealing some thunder here, is Now Etta. I think Now Etta is going to have a very good season. He was another top 100 ranked recruit, big time player out of Texas. He's like 290 something right now. He's a monster. Now Etta is going to be a problem this year. I do believe that. And then my bold prediction, we are going to have 2 defensive linemen in the first round of the 2025 NFL draft, Mason Graham and Kenneth Graham.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. We're doing it.
All right. So X Factor. I am going to go. You said Mason Graham, right? I'm going with Kenneth Grant. Right. So
there you go. I thought about it.
There's going to be that highlight reel play. Maybe we'll have something that we use for the whole year next year, whole off season next year for Kenneth Grant. So in terms of sleeper, Trey Pierce wasn't mentioned, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I believe, is he just a sophomore? That's what I have in my notes.
I think so.
Yeah. He started he played in a lot of games, I should say, last year. So let's go there. I'm going to go with that. And in terms of bold prediction, so I track games in terms of the number of games that players get in terms of playing time. So it's not just who are the starters, who are the backups. I'm thinking that there will be 5 players that get in all 15 games that are not starters. 5 additional defensive linemen.
So a 9-man rotation?
Well, there's going to be. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say 15? I should ratchet it down. We only have 12 games, right? So let's say 10 games. Out of 10 games,
I think we got 15.
Oh, well, okay.
We're going to make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not counting that. I mean, out of the 12 games, let's say 10. Out of the big 3, they'll get a little bit of time, but in the other games, they'll get time. So I'm gonna say that there'll be 5 additional defensive linemen that will get in to at least 10 games each.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, I can see it.
10 additional games. That's interesting. Are we going to count Jay Shaw? If Jay Sean Barham goes to Sam, does that count as one of your 5?
I consider him a star. I consider him.
Well, because
I'm talking about non-star, players that are clearly not starters. So
Rayshawn Benny, TJ Guy, Now Etta.
Yeah. Trey Pierce. Hood.
Or Dominic Nichols. Dominic Nichols would be 5. Hood's a linebacker. A super chat from Moose. He goes, my X Factor is Kenneth Grant, sleeper Dominic Nichols, that's a strong sleeper. Bold prediction is Cole Sullivan will start by next season and we'll get playing time this year. So we were looking for a bold prediction for the defensive line, as is a defensive line preview, but bold prediction for the defense. I mean, it's a solid one. I think you're right, Moose. I think Cole Sullivan probably will start next year. I think you could probably bet money on that one.
Thanks, Moose.
Yeah, thanks, Moose. Moose, you are Santa Claus tonight. You are the Oprah. You giving out gifts. You have no competition tonight. Shout out to Moose for carrying it for everybody. We appreciate that, man.
Woo!
Yeah, I just wanted to
70 real quick. 77% of our community has said that this will be a better defense than the 2023 national champion defense.
Yeah, I'm thinking it very well could be, man. I'm thinking, yeah, we're gonna find. I mean, especially with Wink now at the helm. I mean, the defenses actually could be more versatile because it has not only coverage disguises but blitz disguises. I mean, it has another layer to it of complexity for these college quarterbacks. I mean, I'm just so excited to see it, man. I can't wait. And like I'm telling you, the confidence coming out of I can't stress this enough. If I haven't stressed it enough already, the confidence from Wink Martindale and Sharon Moore coming out of Ann Arbor right now about this defense. I mean, they seem extremely confident about this defense.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of points. I was probably a no on that question, but during this broadcast, I got pumped up and I changed it to a yes in terms of the that we can be better than we were last year on defense. That being stated, we do have a tougher schedule, so we could be better, but give up more points. So just kind of keep that in mind too, right? So that could happen, right? So our schedule is tougher than last year. So,
no question.
Yeah, just wanted to kind of point that out. So, but what about our coaches though? Do you think that we're making a upgrade with our defensive coaches, or is that going to be? Is there a void to fill there, or what do you think?
Well, there's one particular defensive coach we're going to talk about in the recruiting segment, and kind of what his secret might be. So we're going to get to that in a little bit. But any others that might come to mind, TJ?
Well, in terms of coaches, I don't know. It's too hard to tell, right? I got to see it on the field. I mean, it's just, did we think Jesse Minter would be better than Mike McDonald? It happened. Do we think Wink Martindale can be better than Jesse Minter? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'll say this though. I do think, as crazy as this sounds, Lou Esposito might be an upgrade, and Lamar Morgan might be an upgrade. Now, in terms of Brian Jean-Marie and Chris Partridge, I actually think Chris Partridge was the upgrade. It's a damn shame we let him go, man. That was such a strong coach, both off the field and on the field. But yeah, I think Lamar Morgan and Lou Esposito could be upgrades. They seem to be great coaches, and not only that, Lou Esposito has a track record of developing defensive linemen that go to the NFL. And Lamar Morgan's very versed in this defense, working with Jesse Minter at Vanderbilt. So that's a high potential. And then we'll just have to see on Wink Martindale. But I want to highlight, we're going to get to Blue Wolverine. Shout out to Blue Wolverine. We're going to get to you, but I love battling with Steve here. He goes, 85 Bears, according to TJ. No, F that. It's the 2001 Ravens, son. And get ready for your L in November. But shout out to Blue Wolverine for the $1999 super chat. We appreciate you, man, contributing to the show. Shout out to your son, Micah. Hope he's wearing his Michigan jersey, getting ready for the season. And hell yeah, man. And again, like everyone contributing, whether it be super chat, whether it be super sticker, whether it be membership or gifting a membership, it all means a lot to us. You guys are helping us. You're giving us a lot to be appreciative for. Let's just say that, we have the best community in the game, and it's because of you guys. So shout out to all of you. Even if you are unable to give financial contribution, being in the comments, liking the video, sharing the video, it all means a lot to us. So shout out to all you guys. And also, if you guys could please give us a follow on the audio platforms, give us a review. That really means a lot to us as well. And anything you guys could do to help us out, we'd greatly appreciate it. And yeah, man, it just means a lot.
Yeah, Blue, thank you so much for that. And Blue, this isn't the first time that Blue has just stepped up and contributed at a big level. And he's been recently joined like this. It's not like they've been around 3 years. Like, he is a recent new member and recent addition. Thanks to chatting with him on some other podcasts, he's been really giving us a try. And so we really appreciate not just that you've come over and that you've supported and that you've been in chat, but then you're a YouTube member and now you're contributing. I mean, it's amazing, and go Blue to you.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a good handful of new members recently contributing. Greatly appreciated that, and also we just have like a great community. Like, Moose just cheering on. Like Moose puts in mad work in terms of financial contribution or just promoting the show or just even things behind the scenes that people are not aware of. And it's just like the support from one another. Like, no ego, not like, oh, hey man, I'm the one who, we all know Moose is MVP, like he does a lot for us. We all know that, we give him recognition, but like the fact that, we all show appreciation and recognition to everyone else that contributes, we appreciate that as well. So again, just a great, healthy community. I mean, shit, man, we even have Ohio State fans in the comments who are fans of the show. Even though Steve is a Buckeye, he likes us. I know he might not admit it public. I know he likes us. And just so you know, Steve, it's mutual, buddy. I'm not mad at you either. And then here we go right here. I was about to do the same thing, John. We got a Kapana. Shout out to Kyoki Kapana. Shout out to Micah Kapana. Yeah, man, it's great to see. We appreciate everybody. Kyoki is also a member, which we greatly appreciate. So shout out to the Kapanas. And again, another Buckeye in the chat. We love to see it. But yeah, John, it's just good to see how healthy the community is, and it's just going to keep growing too.
Absolutely. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Quick reminder: when you're doing your shopping on Amazon, the Amazon links on every single video that Voice College Football puts out. So if you're already going, you might as well click it and then help us out a little bit that way. So we've got a commit. So Jayden Sanders, 4-star cornerback, commit to Michigan. TJ has put out a video on this, but we do have the film here. And so I guess, to start off, let's talk Jayden Sanders in general before we get to what's Lamar Morgan's secret sauce. But, what do you see from this player that you think might make him a really strong, component in Michigan's personnel
secondary
groups?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jayden Sanders, for those who missed the news over the weekend, Jayden Sanders has committed to Michigan. He's a 4-star corner out of Texas, Kilgore, Texas. And he's also the son of a former D1 athlete, played for TCU in the mid 2000s. And yeah, what we have here is a very lengthy 6'2", possibly 6'3" corner. He's very athletic too. He's he has some good twitch to him. What I like to see in his tape, and there is some offensive highlights as well as some special team highlights mixed in here. But when you see the defensive highlights, what you see is a player who's sticky in coverage, has excellent awareness in terms of read and react skills, plays the ball in the air. I think he's a very strong corner. Now he's about 175 pounds. He will need to get in the weight room. He will need to gain some size. And as I said in the recruiting breakdown video, which I released on Saturday, go check it out if you missed it. In about 2 to 3 years, I could see him vying for playing time, potentially starting as one of the outside corners in our defense. He has that type of potential. And what you also see in the highlights is he's making impact playmaking plays at all 3 phases. It's just a strong get. It's a very strong get to the class. He could be CB. I project him as a CB2, but potential to be a CB1 in the future. But I do think he will be a strong CB2 in our defense of the future.
Yeah, that's great. We have lost a player or two, so it's good. It's good to have the overall process and not worry. Okay, we lost somebody. Okay, we did get somebody else. And are we on the edge of being in the top 10 in terms of recruiting class?
No, we're about 15 right now because of our loss of Philip Wright, and then we had 2 guys who they lowered to a 3-star in Eli Owens and Bobby Kanka. But I mean, it's still, again, it's a strong class. We're at, I think, 16 commits right now. So, I mean, it is a strong class. I mean, I'm hoping to get in the top. So Andrew Marsh is going to be, which actually I'm going to hit on that in a little bit. So I have some more players I'll touch on in a little bit, but it's a strong class. Unfortunately, Philip Wright left, but I do know Michigan is trying to fill that role, and they're looking at some new prospects now.
All right, keep going. I'm waiting for the Babalola update.
Okay. So, Yeah, so I think next we have Andrew Marsh, John. Let's see. So I'll hit on Andrew Marsh for I'll save Babalola. So Andrew Marsh, quick update on Andrew Marsh. This is another one that we are looking great on. We had an interview with Andrew Marsh a couple weeks ago. He's looking to commit August 28th. That is the date to pencil on your calendars. That is looking really good. We are extremely optimistic. I have a lock on Andrew Marsh. So just be on the lookout for that. Nothing has changed, even though there have been some teams who have tried to, I don't know, make a move. But the reality is Andrew Marsh is pretty damn locked into Michigan. He's he really likes it here. So, just an update on that everything is looking good there. And then we'll hit on Andrew Babalola. This is the big name right now in recruiting for Michigan. There has been some smoke that Auburn has entered the race. That smoke is true. They have entered the race in the sense of they are coming very aggressively through NIL. Now, that said, I do think, and I said this, so I was asked on social media, what were my feelings on this current battle? And from my understanding, it is still a Michigan-Stanford battle. But here's the thing. So there's a couple dynamics. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
He was supposed to commit August 12th. That was his loose, tentative commitment date. And as you guys know, this is a recruitment we've all been following for a few months now. We wanted Andrew Babalola to commit before August. The sooner he committed, the better for Michigan. Well, his tentative date was August 12th. He did not commit August 12th. It's August 13th. Now, when he does want to commit is going to be within the next 4 weeks. He wants to get this decision done before the season starts and all of that. And before the school year, he just wants to focus on ball. So what we have right now is we have a 3-horse race between Stanford, Michigan, and Auburn. But I do believe it is still Stanford and Michigan ahead of Auburn at this moment. But Auburn is making it interesting. They are being aggressive, and they are contacting him frequently. But Michigan is also in frequent contact. Michigan still feels good, but at the end of the day, I can't say one way or another if we're leading or not. I just think it is an extremely close battle right now. The sooner, here's the thing too, though. He can commit it any day. It could be tomorrow. It could be next week. It could be in 3-4 weeks. But the sooner he commits, the better for Michigan. The longer he runs this out, I would say might be better for Auburn, because that means he's listening, because they just entered the chat. Auburn is a big component to why it may drag longer than it should. And if it does drag longer than it should, that might be, which is interesting, because we're like, well, and we've been talking, John, this has been an academics recruitment. So what is Auburn doing here? Well, just like Nicholas Harbaugh a year ago, right? Nicholas Harbaugh was not about NIL. And we're going to quote Sam Webb here, because I think Sam Webb brings an excellent point. It's not about NIL until it is. Now, I'm not saying this recruitment is 100% about NIL, because it's not. And Michigan is offering NIL. This is not Michigan not coming to the plate. It's just Auburn's very aggressive right now. They're offering a little bit more NIL. So we'll see what happens. It's just a recruitment we're going to have to watch. And I think, a lot of us, me too. I think a lot of us are like, why? Michigan develops, Michigan wins, and we have NIL. How is this not? And academically, we are there. So how is this not a perfect match made in heaven for an offensive lineman? I don't know. I mean, that's something that we don't quite know, because we're not in his shoes, but it appears Stanford's the academic choice, Auburn is the NIL choice, and Michigan actually has all of it, but it is what it is. I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. Yeah.
What happened to freaking education being and then Auburn just comes out of nowhere and throws a bag, and now they're being talked seriously about it.
All right.
What's crazy too is, like, I was gonna say, Auburn's not the only team that's up. Missouri was throwing a bag. I don't know, man. Apparently he's vibing very well with the coaching staff at Auburn. So whatever they're selling. It's having some impact. So we'll see. Listen, Michigan's still in a good position. This isn't me saying we're losing ground, or we're still healthy. We're still in it. It's just there's now a new opponent in the arena, and the longer this drags out, I do think the tougher it is for Michigan to win. The sooner he announces his commitment date, the better. Go on, Ferris.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to pause for a second. First, I didn't get a chance to personally thank Blue Wolverine for defending me on other chats, but let's just pause for a second because of this.
Blue Wolverine with the 50 burger. Love the show. Wish it was live 7 days a week. Well, yeah,
we've had that.
We've
had that requested by B-Dub wants it 7 days a week. There's some others who've asked for it to be 7 days a week. But thank you, Blue Wolverine. Shout out to you, man, for contributing to the channel again. It means a lot to us. It just does, man. You guys make us. We got to do better because you guys, give us so much as well. So we appreciate all that. You guys work hard for your money. We don't take it for granted. So, thank you.
All hosts
we are going to do
and treat them well, Mark. Just wanted to finish out this. What he said.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah, Mark.
Treat us well. So we are going to have a pregame show and a postgame show for all games. So not 7 days a week yet, but we are going to up our on-air time for sure during the season.
And our guest list is getting legit. Okay, we have I'm sure we're going to hit on it, but I'll just hit on it now. We got Tanner Wooten joining us this Thursday on the call-in show. Next Thursday, I got the Scarlet and Blue show. They're going to be joining me then. We also are going to be for the games, game weeks, we're going to be getting other analysts from these other teams to give their perspective on the matchups. We have Texas already locked up. We got Ferris State already locked, or not Ferris State, Fresno State already locked. Ferris is with me right now. We got Fresno State locked up. We're working on Arkansas State. So yeah, man. I mean, it's just we got Trey Taylor coming in. We got a lot more. We're also working on I'm working on an interview I think you guys will be very happy about. So we'll see what we can do for you guys, man. We're gonna bring the heat, keep providing the content, and Moose, my guy, thank you, Moose. Appreciate you for
wait, pause again. It's time to
just Moose said not to be outdone. Here you go, 50 burger. Everybody throw the Moose in the chat right now. Thank you so much, buddy.
Whenever Moose gets in a donation off, Moose is like, nah. I'm not. I got more. I got one more in me.
But yeah, going back to Blue Wolverine just for a sec, and Moose, I'm on other chats, and a lot of times, there's all kinds of things flying my way. When I just simply say how many days it's been since Ohio State has beaten Michigan in football, if somebody could look that up, that would be great. And they immediately go to cheating, go to other things, or go to the 2020 game, whatever. It is nice to have others who are there with me, who are, I'm not just doing this solo when I'm on these chats of Ohio State oriented YouTubers.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've noticed, checking out some of the other videos, our contingent of fan base seems to be on a lot of other chats. It's cool to see our community. Obviously these communities spread amongst various shows, but I see you, Ferris, and I see some of our normal fans that are here on our show in these chats. And it's cool to, it just seems to be a really strong community, like everyone has each other's back, even on these other, broadcasts that may not be friendly.
All right, one thing on Babalola. I looked up On3's projection for Babalola.
Holy shit, dude.
Okay, wait, we got to stop again. Stop.
Hey.
Stop.
Blue Wolverine, my God. Yeah, what are you gonna do now, Moose? I'm just kidding.
What now?
He's calling you out.
Damn.
Blue Wolverine, bring it. Just kidding. All to a good cause. It is. Man, I'll tell you. Yeah, we're definitely. We appreciate it, man, and thank you for your contribution of $99. I think this is your second $100 donation to the channel. We appreciate that, man. Hey, the Juju like 4 hours. Hey, that's the call-in show, man. The call-in shows where we extend it every hour for every $100. But yeah, no, that's hell yeah, man. That means a lot to us. Just know that.
But hey,
But,
naturally, if we have to keep, if you keep super chatting, we have to keep stopping. So the show's
Yeah.
going to go longer naturally if you keep doing that. So there you go.
True story.
Sorry, TJ, go for
It's
it.
all good. Yeah. So, well, you want me to hit on the recruiting? Yeah. All right. So we'll go back to recruiting.
Yeah,
So
let's wrap this
next
up.
up
Yep.
is, so there's some concern here with Andrew. Well, all right. There is not concern with Andrew Olish, but there's been some recent news that Andrew Olish has picked up a scholarship from Oregon. Some are a bit concerned because we all know what Oregon is. They're a power player in the recruiting game. They're very, very aggressive. They are probably the most aggressive NIL team, which is saying a lot because you got teams like Miami and Texas A&M and Texas. But by all accounts, Andrew Olish is locked into Michigan. He's very happy with Michigan. It's just one of those things where a school at the level of Oregon just happened to offer a scholarship. And of course, it's going to turn some heads like, oh shit, because we know what Oregon's doing on the trail. They're making life hell for Ohio State. They're making life hell for a lot of teams. We've had our own battles with Oregon in the past, but everything as it stands on August 13th, Andrew Olish is still very strong and committed to Michigan. He is recruiting other players to come to Michigan. So I just want to put everyone's if you happen to be a slightly concerned at ease, just Addy, everything's good. Nothing to worry about there. And then the last thing I want to hit on for the recruiting segment is we are officially in because we're officially in flip season. We are officially in the senior riser season. We are now going to be unearthing gems because what is going on right now is the recruiting board is getting thin. There's less and less targets, and there's still some remaining needs. We still have about 6 to 9 more players who will be committing to the class. And some names I want to hit on are Kamar Archie, linebacker, who is currently committed to Rutgers. That is a name to watch. I do think Michigan is going, I think from what I know, Michigan is keeping tabs on that recruitment. I think that they may make a push for him as the season goes on. We will see what happens there because, as you know, we were once number one for Kamar Archie, and then we kind of slow played it because we went through the coaching transition. We'll see how that goes. Michigan is, we have Chase Taylor currently in the fold. We will see how that one shakes out, but I do think Kamar Archie is a name to watch. Adonis Curry from Texas A&M, that is the cornerback. He is currently committed to Texas A&M. This is their number one. I don't want to say number one. This is one of their top targets on the board still. Be on the lookout for that. They tried to get him to come to a barbecue at the Big House. It didn't happen. They're going to try and get him for a fall visit. We will see if they are able to make that happen. If any of these, I want to stress this, if any of these kids who are currently committed to other schools make it on any visits, that is your indicator things are going very well. It is very hard to get a committed kid, especially at this stage in the process, to come up for visits. So if we are able to do that, that's a very strong indication that things are moving in the right direction. Micah Strickland out of TCU is a name to watch. He runs a 10.8 900 meter. Adonis Curry runs a 10.5 500 meter. You will see a common trend with these corners that Lamar Morgan is currently targeting, which are extremely fast, athletic corners, pretty much the opposite of Don Brown. Donovan Starr is another one who's a current Auburn commit. It would be nice to, stick one to Auburn, even though we did with Nate Marshall. He runs a 10.5 600 meter. And then the last flip target I want to mention, and this is a name a lot of you are already familiar with, which is Alex Graham, currently committed to Colorado. This one I probably feel strongest about. If Alex Graham can show that he is healthy, if Alex Graham can show that he can remain healthy, because he's been injured the last couple years, I think Michigan becomes very aggressive in that recruitment. And because he's current, so he went to IMG, he's come back from IMG, he's currently, I believe, at Cass Tech. If he stays healthy, I think you will see Alex Graham in the class. But so that's where we are with the recruiting segment for this week. Recruiting news is beginning to slow down a little bit, but of course, we will always bring you the latest intel we possibly can.
Yeah, I think it's Colorado, so they're probably going 5-7 at best. And with all the media controversies and everything else going on with Dion, it's definitely not impossible to think that he could flip. I think the Olesh thing, keep in mind, if you were freaked out because he tweeted, remember that they're going to tweet if they get a scholarship offer. They're going to continue to do that even if they've committed to another school. just out of respect for getting the offer, if nothing else. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Oh.
As we know, Oregon has been. There's like a Jerry Jones like urgency to get a national championship with Phil Knight in Oregon. So they're just throwing bags all around there. But I think Olish I feel good that he will still be in the Michigan class.
Plus, like, listen, if you were in his shoes or you were a top prospect, any freaking scholarship you get from these top premier universities, you would want to show it off too. You got to remember, these kids are the man at their school. Like, how dope is it? Oh, hey, Oregon just offered me a scholarship. Like, whether you are interested or not, you're still gonna like show it off. Like, these kids are like 17, 16 years old, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's just it just comes with the game. But yeah, I mean, I would at this point in time, I am not concerned about Andrew Olish. Did you read Power Plant's super chat, John?
I was going to, and then we'll take Moose's super sticker, and then Ferris, you're up. Power Plant, $5. I'm sensing a value bet with the interest in Auburn. We will increase our NIL. So
yeah,
that's
actually, I'll put my comment in right now because
yeah,
it relates
go
to
for
that.
Please.
It does sort of make sense that let me shop around a little bit. Let's see if there's some way I can get what I want, which is go to Michigan. But can I get a little bit more? Maybe it might make sense that that's where Auburn might make sense, right? So to have some kind of, hey, I've got this over here. Can you match it? That sort of thing. I do want to actually just point out that On3 has Babalola at like 90% or 88, 89% or something. Do you think that they're way off, TJ? Do you really think it's 50-50 or 50-55 or whatever, 50-45-5?
No, I mean, I don't think. See, all right. So the RPM meter that On3 has it's very unreliable. It's based on visits and articles and of course predictions. But listen, I don't think Michigan has a 30% lead on anybody right now. I think it's a close race. I do to I agree with you in Power Plant. I think there's no question kids use schools to up offers to generate interest. We may very well, and I don't have intel on this. This is speculation on my part. Playing off of this super chat, we may very well be seeing negotiations occurring. I mean, and we know we are. I mean, we know this happens in recruitments. There's negotiations throughout the recruitment. Sean McGee is very involved on all of these. And for those who don't know, he heads he's the general manager for Michigan. He heads basically these types of negotiations for Michigan. I think it's, and Sharon Moore is without question in contact with Andrew Babalola daily. So it's very likely there is a negotiation game going on right now. And like I said, within the next 3 to 4 weeks or, sooner from, 3 weeks or sooner, we should see where this goes. It's possible that Auburn is nothing more than a leverage player here in terms of for Babalola to increase his value. So we will see how that goes. I think that's a great point by Power Plant.
Absolutely. Wolverine Gage reminding everybody to hit the like button. We're at 84 likes. Let's get to 100. Thank you, Wolverine Gage, for that. And of course, throw the Moose emoji one more time because Moose has another 20 burger for us. So how about that? Moose, appreciate you, man.
Big Moose. Yeah, bro. Thank you, man. Again, appreciate it. Appreciate everyone who's contributed tonight. It means a lot. As you know, I feel like sometimes I'm repeating myself by saying how much we appreciate it, but at the end of the day, it's just the truth. And we will keep going. We will keep pushing, and we definitely are not going to change up on our approach at all.
There we go. So we got a couple of final reminders, then we'll do final thoughts and where could people find you, because we want to make sure everyone has a chance to learn about the Oregon Ducks coming up next. So we do want to remind everybody to follow the Voice of College Football Twix account at the VOCFB, and we've been doing a lot of rehauling and remodeling on there. So definitely, if you haven't followed that yet, I definitely encourage everybody to. I don't have the visual ready to go, but we're kind of barreling through this. We also want to encourage any sponsors. If you want to sponsor the Voice of College Football, if you have a product, a service, a business, or a personal brand, you can sponsor Michigan football, the Voice of College Football, and you can email us. We got MarkRogersTV@gmail.com listed up there. You can also hit us up, and we'll go from there. So we appreciate that. And finally, we've got a reminder about the Michigan Wolverines call-in show live. TJ, Thursday at 8, we got Tanner Wooten, Blue by 90, stopping by.
Yeah, we got Tanner's going to be joining us. Looking forward to that. It should be a great conversation. I know he's been on the show before. This will be my first time doing a show with him. So shout out to Tanner Wooten for that. Yeah, man. I mean, look, the guest line, look, the call-in show is booked into September, and we even have other guests that are kind of on a bit of a wait list type of scenario. And plus, we got to get John Ferris back on there as well. So the call-in show is mighty healthy with the guest list. We appreciate that. And we will I will be there Thursday. John held the fort down. And Johnny Olden, shout out to him for being on the show last week. I'm going to do another show with him in the future because I was unable to attend that one. But yeah, man, the call-in show is doing great. Looking forward to this Thursday show.
Absolutely. And with that said, let's have some final thoughts on where can people find you. Ferris, we've been barreling through. We've talked about, it seems like everything under the sun with Michigan football, but let us know what you're up to and a final thought for everybody.
Yeah, so I have I think it's over 40 minutes. I didn't think I'd go that long, but I was dissecting that book excerpt that's in the Detroit Free Press. I used logic and facts and some numbers to just basically explain what I thought was going on and sort of how to connect the dots. Look for or take a look at that video. I published it yesterday at 9 a.m. The next one, the one I was supposed to be doing this time, but because of all that breaking news, I went with the Harbaugh hamburgers. The next video, I'll be talking about Donovan Edwards and Alex Orji, who in one list were listed as 2 of the top 10 players that will sort of make or break players for our teams going to the playoffs. So it was kind of interesting that there are 2 Michigan players on that list. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on both of those players in the next Smash the Numbers. I am doing stuff on Bobblehead Guru on TikTok. So if you are on the TikTok platform, please follow me at Bobblehead Guru. A lot of the shorts, I'm actually just doing it on TikTok, trying to get more fans who may not know of our channel to come on over here. So look for me over there. And other than that, go blue. There's still sun here, but I am hungry. It's after 10 o'clock your time, but this was just an amazing show. Thanks for everyone who contributed, liked, and hopefully we got some subscribers as well. Really appreciate it.
Ferris, go have some dinner. Enjoy yourself. Go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue.
All right. We're on to TJ. Man, what a show and what a community just bringing it tonight.
Hey, man, we got the best community in the damn game. I'll put it up against anybody, and I mean that. Yeah, great show. Again, I missed last week, and it just being back in it, it's just, I love doing this. It's a great time talking Michigan football with you guys. We got ball. We got fall camp. We're just we're 2 weeks away from our first game. Oh, let me check the calendar. Yeah, man. I mean, it's great. It's a great time to be talking football. So yeah, looking forward to it. But yeah, anyone, you can find me at TJ_Ronin on Twitter, working my way to 1,000 followers on there. Definitely enjoying the interaction with everybody on there. That's a good time. As we mentioned earlier, we got the Thursday show. And then obviously we're just going to keep pumping out content. Be on the lookout for that. Recruiting breakdowns as they come. And yeah, man, I mean, more to come. Stay tuned. We actually have some announcements we're working on that we should be announcing in the near future. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, and again, if anybody, I want to stress this, If you guys got the opportunity, go on your Apple Podcast, go to your Spotify. Can you please start rating and reviewing our podcast on there, because we're trying to build our profile in the audio space. It means a lot to us there as well. So again, shout out to everybody. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me, John, and Ferris, as well as Mark, because we're putting a lot of work into it, and your guys' appreciation, whether it be through financial compensation or not, just watching, liking the video, sharing the video, commenting, even being a part of this. Our moderators, shout out to our moderators. It means a lot to us, because it just shows that, we're on the right path, and we will keep going. And as I always say it, we're going to keep climbing the damn mountain. And it's just great to see how it's unfolding, John. So that's all I got from that. But as you know, bro, it is always go blue, my friend.
There it is. We'll see you Thursday, TJ.
All right.
Okay. And final thought from me is I'm just so honored that you guys have chosen this show. You could be doing anything. You decided to come by here, and whether you hit the like button, like he said, or super chatted or whatever, we appreciate it. That's right, Juju. It's as always, go blue. Remember that this Thursday is the call-in show. Tanner, who, if you guys have been watching the show for a long time, he was a regular co-host last year, and he is now back, and he is going to be TJ's special guest on Thursday, and he brings a lot of insight to the table from Blue by 90 and doing those podcasts over there. So check that out. And also on the 27th, not only will the Connor Stallions documentary be coming out, but we'll be interviewing Trey Taylor, 2027 elite quarterback recruit, on that show. And also we may have a special guest from Fresno State Media. So more to come on that for the Fresno State preview. So lots to come. And finally, you can follow me on Twix at John Diadamo. Coming up next, as Jackson Johnson says right here, Oregon Ducks Live. They're going to be previewing the Ohio State-Oregon game. They're also going to be talking about Jesus, we forgot about the AP poll. The AP poll got released. That's right, folks. So you can learn more about that on the Oregon show, and go on over there. It is a great time. It really is. I enjoy myself. Kick back, have a bourbon, get on over there, hang out and chat with everybody for Oregon Ducks Live coming up in about 20 minutes. And until next time, this is John Diadamo saying go blue, and we'll see you soon.